The microscopic world presented to us by scientists is a very mysterious one in which the classical mechanism can more or less not be used and earthly logic does not seem to be entirely valid. What happens there is sometimes absolutely incomprehensible. What is valid there is everything that comes out of the mathematical equations that sometimes nobody understands. But what we have done and will continue to do is always proceed with strict logic and absolute objectivity. They also belong to the principle of real physics. The mass is a neutral thing, which also includes the particles with an electric charge. Also electrical charges, which contain energy and force, could not be the property of any matter, such as gravitation. We are firmly convinced that the electric charge of the particle can be explained factually. In the following we consider all particles as neutral mass and also all possible spooky properties in this world are not considered. We know, for example, that the electron has power, constantly revolves around the nucleus and rotates on its own axis. But we don't know why that is. So far it has been thought that it is simply the property inherent in the electron. But that's kind of unphysical. We had an inkling that all forces of nature arose through the interaction of two bodies. Then the two bodies must be bound in one system. With the sovereignty system, as we have explained, gravity is created. The question now is whether the system is also valid in the microscopic world, which should or must be the case. If we take as an example a hydrogen atom whose nucleus consists of a proton and a neutron around which an electron orbits, the Coulomb force between the nucleus and the electron is, as we all know, we can imagine that the hydrogen nucleus and the electron could be a sovereignty system that we call the hydrogen atom system. The condition for this is fulfilled in this case. Assuming that the gravitational force in this system is Fa, which is the same as the Coulomb force Fc, we get the following equation. Then the gravitational constant of this atomic system would have to be defined as follows. Because the two are inversely proportional to the square of the distances, the strength of the attractive force under this gravitational constant is always equal to the Coulomb force. So the speed of the electron around the nucleus can be calculated just like that of the Earth around the Sun. This is the orbital velocity required for a body to run around a central body forever. This means that the centrifugal force generated at this speed must be equal to the Coulomb force, otherwise the electron would crash into the nucleus. And this speed came from the rotating gravitational field of the nucleus. Where else is this speed supposed to come from? We're talking real physics here, everything that's spirit-like is excluded. Conversely, in order for the centrifugal force, Fz, of the electron to be so large, it must correspond to the following equation. From this, the gravitational constant for this atomic system must also be as large. This explains why the electron always goes around the nucleus, although the distance between the two can vary. This is just one of the phenomenons that cannot be explained by previous physics. As already explained, interaction and entanglement can also be unraveled mechanically through the sovereignty system. So with the sovereignty system, almost all mysteries about this force of nature are solved in one fell swoop. How this natural force is created. Why electron runs around the nucleus forever. Why the electron and nucleus constantly rotate around their own axes. Where the energy needed for these movements comes from. Why the nucleus and the electron are entangled with each other. How the interaction works mechanically. This shows that the reason for the orbit of the electron around the nucleus is the same as for the orbit of the Earth around the suns. This also means that the physical principles are the same in both the microscopic and macroscopic worlds. Thank you very much for your attention. See you next time.